Right. Hello everyone. So we've got our movement in, we've got some score text in, we've got some health text. I'm just gonna start off by making one little change. So I'm just gonna call this score and this health, just so it's easier for me to see. I know it's gonna change when we start the game, but if I was moving everything around, I can see what it is. But I'm just gonna press play again. And we're just gonna look at where we are currently. So we've got our health, we've got our score, we can shoot these guys. Now, the main issue we're going to have when we start importing these assets is that these cubes are not actually rotating, they're just following. They hit each other and they start rotating, but they're not actually kind of rotating to where we are. And what we wanted to do is like always face the player. So what we'll do is we'll just load up our enemy script to start off with, and we're just going to add a couple lines of code that are going to fix this issue. So underneath where we've got where in our update we're doing the player movement. So if I just add a little comment there, so this is player movement. All we're gonna do is we're gonna add sorry, not player movement, it's enemy movement, my apologies. We're gonna add enemy rotation. Now here, all you're gonna need to do is do float angle, and we're gonna set this up. So this is another one of these big math statements, which are really fun. I love it. We're going to do atan2 like we've done previously. And this was what we were doing with the mouse direction. We're just going to do direction dot y and then dash direction dot x. So we've stolen the direction vector we've already set up for movement. So let's kind of keep moving with that pace, and we'll just times that by math f dot, I'm going to do rad 2 degree minus 90f. Now, the reason why we're going to do minus 90f is it will, if we don't do it, which I'll show you. So what I'll do is I'll just add another semicolon here and I'll comment this bit out, and I'll show you why we're doing that afterwards. So then what we need to do is just do transform dot rotation, rotation, if I can spell it, equals, and then we're going to do that big word that I can't spell, which is which is about rotation. We're going to do new vector 3, and we're going to make it so it's 0, 0, and then angle. So we're just rotating that Z axis. We don't want to do the X and the Y because we're only rotating on that Z. Okay? So if we go back into the game, now press play, we should now have slightly rotating cubes. Perfect. See, they're rotating after us. Makes it feel a bit more live, more active. Makes it feel like they're more kind of actually got life to them, I guess. But we can add some things. Oh, I'm going to die. What a shame. Perfect. So now what you need to do is start importing assets. So this is when we start putting the art in. I'm just going to use, for example, today, Piscale, which is this free to use online stuff, but there's a sprite, there's Photoshop, there's loads of different ways people make pixels. But I'm just going to create a new sprite. And for example, for this, I'm going to make a heart. You can make your player, you can make whatever you want, but for this example, I'm going to do, what I'll do is I'll do a player first. So I'll do a really basic player. I'll do a little face, and there's loads of different tools. There's a circle tool, there's a move tool. You can have a proper play around with this. And I'll just add a box for one arm and a box for another arm. Okay. Now, it does look like a bit of a TIE fire, but that's fine. I'll change the colour down here. So I've got a bit of brown there. I'll make his arms green. Perfect. He looks like a really weird TIE fighter. Now, I'm just going to export this, and I'm going to go to PNG. I'm going to download, and it'll make a little download file. I'll open this up, and if I get to my screen, what we're going to do, so we'll drag this over. We're going to right-click New Pixel and just rename it to Player, and I'm going to call it Piscale, but you can call it whatever you want. I'm also going to create another asset, so I'm going to create a heart real quick, just because I'm going to get some pickups for health in later on, so I might as well do it now. So you can use this vertical mirror tool, which is quite good, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make my pixel box a bit smaller, and this is like why I can't do art. Perfect, look at that, that's a beautiful heart. I won't take any other comments about it, okay? And what I'll do is I'll just make it a little bit shaded in the middle. Perfect. Now I'll export that one as well, download as PNG, and that will be done as well. So I'll put that on here. I'll rename it to heart. So right click it. Oh, right click it, rename. Okay, so we've got some assets there. I've also got some pre-made ones. So what I've done is I've got someone very nicely to make me some characters. So this is all hand-drawn art. So it's a bit different to the pixel art. So you can decide whether you're going to have pixel art game, hand-drawn. That's completely up to you. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to close Piscale down because we're done with that for today. So we're going to leave it. And then when we're in our game, so basically all we got to do is we've just got to drag it into this bottom folder. So what I'm going to do is I'll drag my file explorer onto here. I'll kind of, I'll click it back again because it's just disappeared. I'll just make it a bit smaller. And that's just so I can drag and drop it in. So I'm going to drag and drop my heart in. I'm going to drag and drop my player pixel in. I'm going to drag and drop my action Dan. And I'm going to drag and drop my alien. Awesome. Now I'm going to close that down because I don't need it anymore. So if I really want to quickly just have a look, so I've got my alien here. It's very high quality, upscaled. So I'll just crouch it down, make it a bit smaller so we can see if it's readable. So it's all readable, looks good. Now, if I put my heart in, what you'll notice is if I scale that up, that is really blurry. If I scale it right up, you can see it's quite blurry. Now, if I scale up my alien as well, you can see that's high quality. That's different because it's hand drawn. So when we're doing pixel art, because we're working with smaller pixels, all we got to do is if we click the heart down in the bottom and to the right, you have a load of options. Now, the only one that I really focus on is this one saying filter mode. If I click that and I do point no filter and then press apply, look how much clearer that looks. That looks so much better. So I'll just Control Z to show you. So I'm going to revert that. Or I can just change it here actually. So I'll change it to bilinear again. And you see it's blurry. It doesn't really work. But if I do point no filter, it's perfect. It looks really good. Now, with the alien, we could do the same where we click this. Oh, sorry. We click it. We get the options on the side. We can make it point no filter and apply. But it would just make it look a bit more pixelated. Don't really need to do it for hand-drawn art. We can keep it as bilinear, okay? So I've got my art in. What I'm going to do is I'll just delete my heart for now. I'm just going to focus on my alien, okay? So I'm going to delete my alien as well. I'm going to Control S, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my prefab for my walker enemy. So this is the red one, which is quite easy and slow. I'm just going to drag and drop my alien onto the walker. So then it will come as a little child up there. I'll just going to scale it down. And what's really nice about working with cubes is you now know where it's going to fit in. Okay, so I can see his arm's going to stick out a little bit, so I'm just going to scale it down a little bit more. But that's pretty on point. The arms are moving, so I'll just move over a little bit, but that's looking quite good. Okay, if I look at my box collider, I've got my box collider there. That's looking all right. I can scale it, so if I go down to my box collider here, you can make it a little bit wider just to make sure it's covering everything, like so. And then it's a bit of a wider enemy, which means this hitbox is going to be wider. But I'll save that. And all I'm going to do on my normal walker at the top is I'm just going to turn my sprite render off. So now I don't have a weird red square. Okay? Now, I'm going to Control C my alien. I'm going to go to my runner. And I'm going to Control V. And then what I'll do is I'll turn off my sprite renderer like last time. I'm just going to make my box collider bigger once again. But all I'm going to do this time, just to make sure I could tell the difference, is on my alien sprite, you got a sprite renderer. And on that color, I'm just going to change it to, I'm going to try and change it to like a blue. So if I mess around these settings a bit, I make it a bit more blue. And this is why you should make more than one art asset, because otherwise you're just working with trying to recolor stuff. And that looks, let's go with that. Let's go with let's make it a bit blue. There we go. So that's my like blue runner alien. That's done. Now, if we go to my tank is a lot bigger than my other aliens. So what I'll do is I'll scale that up. And I'm going to make it red just so it's really obvious that this is a bad man, okay? And I'll scale it up a little bit more and scale it up a little bit more so it's fitting that tank. box back to front, and then I'll make the tank a bit wider. So if I go to my tank, I'll turn up a sprite renderer, I'll edit my box glider, I'll stretch it out a little bit. There we go, and I'll save. Now, if I press play on my game, we've got aliens spawning in, and they're turning around to follow us, and oh my god, look. Now, what you'll see is that the angle's a bit off, so it's always facing to the right, like he's kind of shoulder charging us constantly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add that 90 degrees back in. And that's why we have it, just so it balances it back out. You might have to change it to be plus 90, minus 90. It just depends how you've done your sprites and how they get implemented, okay? So, just waiting for the game to load. I think it's just crashed a little bit, which is fine. We'll just save that, close that down, and it's frozen. So, just give me 1 sec. Right, so it's loaded up now. I'm just going to press play, and we're just going to have a look at how it's running. So, what we've got now is aliens are facing us, and we know which ones they are because they're different colours. They run at different speeds, and we've kind of got more of a game now. Okay, there's still some areas to improve. Like we'll have a look at doing some more UI based stuff, changing up, making it look a bit nicer. But it's looking quite good right now. We've got a full loop. When we die, it ends the game. Look, he's spinning out on us. That will be an issue in the future, but it is working. Okay. So in the next session, we'll look at kind of improving the game where possible, but we've got kind of the core loop done, which is really great.